right away. But it's nighttime. The store's closed. Just knock on the back door. He'll hear you. But, are you sure it's all right? Yes, Lester knows I may have to call on him anytime, day or night. People don't always get sick just during working hours. Now do they? No, I guess they don't. Little Willie headed for the door. He sure wished he could stay and have some of the cinnamon cake Dr. Smith was baking in the oven. It smelled mighty good, but Grandfather needed his medicine. And anyway, he wouldn't think of staying without being asked. One thing, Willie, Doc Smith said. Yes, ma'am. I might as well say this now as later. It's about the race tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. First, I want you to know that I think you're a darn fool for using your college money to enter that race. Little Willie's eyes looked to the floor. Yes, ma'am. But since it's really already been done, I also want you to know that I'll be rooting for you. Little Willie looked up. You will? Win, Willie. Win the race tomorrow. Little Willie beamed. He tried to speak, but couldn't find the words. Embraced, he backed over to the door, gave a little wave, then turned quickly to leave. And Willie? Yes, ma'am? If you stay a minute, you can have some of that cinnamon cake I've got in the oven. Yes, ma'am. Later on his way to town, little Willie sang at the top of his lungs. The sledge runners cut through the snow with a swish. This was the treacherous road at night, but the moon was out and Searchlight could see well. And anyway, they knew this road by heart. Nothing was going to happen. Lester gave little Willie a big bottle of what looked like dirty milk. How's your grandfather doing? Lester asked. Not so bad. Good. Or not so good. But after I win the race tomorrow, he'll get better. Doc Smith thinks so too. Lester smiled. I admire you, Willie. You got a heap of courage going up against the likes of Stone Fox. You know, he's never lost. Don't you? Yes, I know that. Thank you for the medicine. Little Willie waved goodbye. As Searchlight started off down Main Street, Lester watched the departing sled for a long time before he yelled, "Good luck, son!" On his way out of town, along North Road, little Willie heard dogs barking. The sounds came from the old deserted barn near the schoolhouse. Little Willie decided to investigate. He squeaked open the barn door and peeked in. It was dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. He couldn't hear anything either. The dogs had stopped barking. He went inside the barn. Little Willie's eyes took a while to get used to the dark, and then he saw them, the 5 Samoyeds. They were in the corner of the barn on the bed, and on the bed of straw. They were looking at him. They were so beautiful, and little Willie loved dogs. Wait. Willie couldn't help from smiling. Little Willie loved dogs. He had to see the Samoyeds up close. They showed no alarm as he approached, whereas he held out his hand to pet them. And then it happened. There was movement through the darkness to little Willie's right. A sweeping motion fast at first, then it appeared to slow and stop. But it didn't stop. A hand hit little Willie right in the face, sending him over backwards. "I didn't mean any harm, Mr. Stone Fox," little Willie said as he picked himself up off the ground, holding a hand over his eye. Stone Fox stood tall in the darkness and said nothing. Searchlight barked outside. The Samoyeds barked in return. Little Willie continued, "I'm going to race against you tomorrow. I know how you want to win, but I want to win too. I gotta win. If I don't, they're going to take away our farm. They have the right. Grandfather says that those that want to bad enough will. So I will. I'll win. I'm going to beat you." Stone Fox remained motionless and silent. Little Willie backed over to the barn door, still holding his eye. "I'm sorry we both can't win," he said. Then he pushed open the door and left, closing the door behind him. In the barn, barn, Stone Fox stood unmoved for another moment. Then he reached out with one massive hand and gently petted one of the Samoyeds. That night, little Willie couldn't sleep. His eye was killing him. And when little Willie couldn't sleep, Searchlight couldn't sleep. Both tossed and turned for hours. And whenever little Willie looked over to see if Searchlight was asleep, she'd just be lying there with her eyes wide open, staring back at him. Little Willie needed to rest. So did Searchlight. Tomorrow was going to be a big day, the biggest day of their lives. Okay, guys?
It's the day.
So, be thinking, anything else we learn about Willie's character? There was one big word that was used for Willie. Oh yeah, setting. Do we really need to add anything to the setting? No, not so much.
We need the math notebook.
Okay? Okay, guys, what I want you guys to do is fill out your, get your sheets out and fill out the problem solution. What thing made Willie happy?